Welcome to episode 154 of Drew Sports Crew here on this Monday morning. Yes, a Monday morning recording here of the Sports Crew. Just the scheduling logistics felt it worked out best. I was like, okay, we already don't have a lot of news to talk about this week because it was just a weird week in terms of what news is going on in the Wisconsin sports world in general. Lacking, I'd say, a lot of news this week. However, we had the NBA All-Star game last night. I wanted to wait on that. I felt there might be something coming out of it. Sure enough, Damian Lillard is your All-Star game MVP and also your three-point contest champion. First to do it. I think he's the first to do it since Michael Jordan, and he might be the only person other than Michael Jordan to do it as well. So that's a cool stat. But it's like, okay, that's something to talk about. Packers offseason. I was trying to look for information on that. There's honestly, right, you at this point of the offseason, it's can you sign a guy to a futures/reserve deal is what they're called, where it's basically a futures contract you can sign them to before the free agent period starts. A lot of other teams actually have been able to take advantage of this. However, the Green Bay Packers have not. There was a report though that came out this past week that they were going to probably move on from David Bakhtiari. They're likely to, which we've talked about in multiple Journey Million episodes, and then also on this very show itself, I've talked about, and looks like it's just going to happen. It's going to be a reality, is all. So, we talked about 20 million cap and saves. They'll be big. That's money they could use even as early as this year. Of course, with that Love extension, if they want to get that done this offseason, that might be something we see. Otherwise, Brewers, right? News came out this morning. Brandon Woodruff is back. And of course, I'm waiting on the number, what it is. We know it's 2 years. We don't know what else, though. I'm waiting. I want to see the numbers on how much he's getting. But obviously, that's a huge signing in terms of what are they going to what is he going to produce in the future, as 2024 probably won't be in the picture for Woodruff in this 2-year deal. So it's really more of a 1-year kind of deal thing. We'll see how it is. But I expect this to be a shorter episode just with the nature of what's going on this week in the Wisconsin sports world. I mean, obviously, if we're talking high school, we had WIA brackets released. We're getting to March. That's the exciting part. So that's still going to be fun to follow if you do so. Otherwise, at your sports crew, Instagram, X, and TikTok, right? Just a variety of Wisconsin content, whether it's a power rankings to see where the Bucks are at in the top 10, Bucks schedule preview for the week. At this point in the year, right? I'm looking forward to bringing the baseball stuff back. Those are always fun to do. The Brewers power ranking with the prediction challenge. Love to see that. And then also just some like parlay stuff. I did one for the All-Star game last night. I like to post just to like show you, hey, this is what I'm looking at tonight. Not like you need to necessarily tail it, but definitely just stuff to keep in mind. I had Halliburton points that hit like right at the start of the game. So that was cool to see. Just like I was like, okay, 4 or 5 minutes in, we're done. But otherwise, just a fun night, right? Watching the All-Star game. I know the product's not where people want it to be, but there's work to do. There's no denying it. I talked about that on this very show before. Talk about probably more in a little bit. Lastly, scheduling this week. Wednesday, so now just 2 days from now, Journey to Million will be live probably a little earlier than 5. We aim for like that 4:45 to 5 p.m. Central Time. We'll be going through, right? We're in the dog days of football right now. No off season. We'll probably talk about some draft stuff. It's usually where we have to play some grids, see how we do. So that's what we'll do. That's again Wednesday around 4:45 to 5 p.m. Central this Wednesday. Otherwise, that's all I have. Let's get into the news. Let's start here. We'll start with the NBA All-Star game. So, All-Star weekend, honest take, it was probably a 5 or 6 out of 10. It was not great in terms of how people perceive it as. Does it start with, okay, Friday night celebrity game, whatever, Friday night, throw it out the window. Friday night's honestly not that, important. They do the Rising Stars stuff. It's cool. It's fun, whatever. Celebrity game. But then on Saturday, they did, right? They had the 3-point shootout, the dunk contest, and the skills competition. Skills competition, Team Pacers won. Not that exciting either. But then we go to the 3-point contest. I think the 3-point contest was the best event of the weekend. I think that's a fair take. the start, right? It's a starry 3-point contest, and it's Dame's contest. Well, other than Steph Curry, right? The starry 3-point contest was phenomenal. Damian Lillard won. He had 26 in that final round to clinch it. It was good. I wish Beasley could have done better. Malik Beasley took last. He had 20 points. But otherwise, it was Dame. There's a weird tiebreaker going on, and Dame hung in there, got it. And then there's that 30-second tiebreaker to determine the finalists. Dame got through that. It was 30 seconds, as I said, and you got through basically half the rack or so, or half all the racks. But yeah, Dame wins it in the final round, back-to-back champ. Love to see it. And then, of course, the real like Steph Curry just pulls up in one round, the Steph versus Sabrina challenge, which was really cool. Honestly, it was a really fun event. Sabrina ended up shooting from the NBA line, and that ended up making it actually like that. I mean, it was cool to see, and that made it a really good event, too. Just over like the competition, and she can shoot. She had more points than a variety of player. What'd she have? 24 or she had 26 points. So she would have basically won or tied to win the normal contest. Or when I say normal contest, like the starry event, just with her 26 points. Yeah, she made her first 7 shots. That was the big thing. And again, this was from the NBA range. So that was phenomenal to see because they were originally talking about her she might be shooting for the WNBA line, but she was all in. Let's shoot from an NBA line. And it was a fun event. And Curry, like there were like after she put up 26, you're like, is Curry gonna win this? Curry puts up 29. He had the perfect racks. He had a couple of he then he missed his first one in the last rack and then just made him out. And that was a really good challenge. Again, Sabrina's one of the top shooters in the WNBA, and as we just saw there, she beat multiple NBA shooters from the NBA line itself and not the WNBA line. So that was really cool to see. And just overall a great event. I think that was the top event. They're talking about in the future now doing like a WNBA versus NBA 3-point competition, kind of like with more players from each league. I think that'd be cool. So I'm all for it. Imagine having Damon Curry there too. Like as a team, that'd be fun to see in the 3-point contest. But overall, fun event, probably the top event. Dunk contest, honestly terrible. Mac McClung, it's his competition now. Yeah, 2 people dunked over Shaq. That was kind of cringe, honestly. But the other contestants, it was Jalen Brown, Jaime Jaquez, Jacob Toppin. They got to get more stars in it. Honestly, McClung like has to stay though. You know, like he's the guy who, right? This contest was meant for him. It feels, and he's gonna win it unless someone comes. They got to find someone for like the competition because man, it's been tough. Overall, I'm just gonna talk about the All-Star game now because it's All-Star weekend. NBA All-Star weekend has work to do. They did have over 200 points for the first time. 211 points for the East. They put up 50 or more in every quarter. That was phenomenal. It was all threes. That's what they needed, and that's how they did it. So on the East side, it was everybody shot at least, like other than Bam Adebayo, and Giannis. Everybody shot 4 or more threes, including Dame with 23 threes, 11 for 23. Of course, Logo Lillard was in effect. And then also Halliburton wouldn't miss. He was 10 for 14 from 3, 11 for 15. Shocker. When Dame wins All-Star MVP, I'm sure you all saw the clip. Boos a flurry from the Indiana crowd. Makes sense. Obviously, Tyrese was the more efficient guy last night. His stats, honestly, were kind of better, but Dame had the better plays, in my opinion, right? He had the half court. He was pulled from half court, not from the corner. So I think that was kind of the difference here. But otherwise, basically everyone scored. Bam only played 16 minutes, didn't do a whole lot. Same with Trae Young, didn't really get involved a lot. But other than that, Giannis really took a step back in this All-Star game, right? Only 11 for 16 with 23 points. Usually Giannis is the guy to go for a bunch of points in the game, but Cat had 50 for the West. 23-35. Okay, yep. Dame was your All-Star MVP. That was the event. Again, 5 or 6 out of 10, not that great. Now we gotta wait till Thursday for some games. So that's kind of the unfortunate part of the All-Star break. And the Bucks didn't really, there's no like transactions, anything going on. I have the Bucks prediction challenge. It's gonna come out, the schedule preview. It's gonna come out probably Wednesday or tomorrow, I'd say. It's just because it's like there's no games today or tomorrow or Wednesday, so why have it out? The Bucks season resumes on Friday. However, they have a tough first 2 games. They have at Minnesota. That right now I'm looking at a loss, and then they have at Philly. So those are the 2 games coming up. So Friday and Sunday are I think they're gonna go 1-1. I think they're gonna beat Philly, especially on the road. Philly's struggling. No Embiid. Should be a win for the Bucks on the road, I assume. That game's on ABC too. And then Friday at Minnesota is going to be a fun one. We're going to start having actually Bucks games on local television. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're in the Wisconsin area. There's more details on that. I believe the first game, it might be that Minnesota one even. So I'm excited to see how that kind of all unfolds. But that's what's going on here on the NBA side. But otherwise, that's all I have for the Bucks. Power rankings for the second half, they're at like 7 or 8 right now for me. It just a tough stretch to end. It was a 3 and 6, especially in the East. So that's where we're at with the Bucks. Let's go over to the NFL. The Packers. I talked kind of about the Bakhtiari thing, and now the question really is, when is that love extension going to happen? I don't think it's going to happen right now, like yet. We talked about the cap savings with Bakhtiari. I don't know. There honestly is not a whole lot to talk about other than the calculated market values, kind of on Spot Track. They do a great job on adjusting for player performance this past season. Where are they going to be priced out at is kind of the question. And Jordan Love right now is priced out at $45 million a year. So the projected contract he would get is 4 years, 180. That's a crazy amount for Jordan Love. So far, it's probably deserved. However, the one thing that's skeptical is the Josh Allen contract at the time it was done was 6 years, 258. And that's like, okay, like looking at how it was done, right? That ends up being, again, at 6 years, 258 is 43 million annually. So Love might make a higher annual salary than Josh Allen. Is crazy to see. And then also Herbert's was just 52 and a half. Obviously, year over year, the quarterback deals get bigger and bigger. I think the Baker Mayfield signing has got to be a good basis to see what Love is going to get. Because not that Love's not proven, it's just we've only seen 1 year. Baker, we've also only seen really 1 year of this good at performance, but we have a longer track record on what he's going to produce for your respective team. So I think whatever Baker gets might help dictate what Jordan Love is going to get in this market. I know it might be a little different, but that's just going to be something to watch on. But obviously they got to get ready for that extension. And then Kenny Clark's another guy, and then Aaron Jones too. Kenny Clark is projected right now for around 16.7 million annually. Puts him kind of at like a Dalvin Tomlinson, or Grady Jarrett. So both guys are respective D tackles, are well-respected D tackles in the league. And I think that's a fine. I don't think they haven't projected to get potentially up to 5 years. I don't see it that. I think this more of a 3-year deal fits kind of what this team wants to do, especially with Clark, again, who is 28, something like that. Or again, they're going to be moving to a 4-3 is the story. So they're going to need another. So that's why Wyatt, the importance of Devontae Wyatt is evident in this league, or especially with this team. So having Wyatt and Clark, like moving with, like having Jeff Hafley, I think is going to require Clark to stay to get extended and to be with this team, because they would struggle significantly if they had some uncertainty at the defensive tackle position in this new formation. The importance on that, especially I'd say there's even more importance on the linebackers now, moving from a 4-3, having only three linebackers now. It's going to be more of like Quay Walker is going to be an important guy. And can they go out and get another linebacker out of free agency? Can they draft a guy? There's some questions there. So you don't want to go linebacker first usually, though. You want to extend, get those corner pieces done. That's why I think they're going to draft a corner first round, and get a guy there. They got to hit on him, though. Corner or safety. They can't have an Eric Stokes kind of draft and go through with that, is my opinion. But that's a Packer talk. Not much going on, right? We're in that part of the year. That's kind of how it is. The Brandon Woodruff news, it did come out though, right as it was this morning. So that's kind of what we saw. And I'm excited for it. Obviously, I guess I shouldn't say obviously, but the Brandon Woodruff signing, right? He's had some shoulder issues now, and he's starting. He had Raynaud syndrome last year, which was kind of something that we have seen it'd be a precursor to thoracic outlet syndrome, which has ended players' careers such as like Matt Harvey, Steven Strasburg, right? Pitchers who ended up just falling off after being at all-time highs. Brandon Woodruff had some other syndromes and now has the shoulder issue that's going to have him out for all of 2024. So they non-tendered him, as we know. We talked about it. It was like he's going to go get picked up by like a team like Atlanta, was what we talked about, for like a 2-3 year deal, not play that first year, and then try to be a guy that could pay off in dividends in year 2 or 3. However, it looks like he tested the market, is what I guess. I'm assuming, and no team gave him a contract that he felt was where he was valued at, in his agent as well. Therefore, we see the Brewers step back and like, hey, you know us. We know you. We know, right, the medical records. We want to give you a deal, but we also want to have you, like, we also want to make sure like this isn't going to backfire on us. So I'm thinking that helped out the Brewers just having, right, the familiarity. So he got a 2-year deal. It's probably a structured deal where year 1 is not going to have a lot of money with it. It's going to be a low base, and year 2 is going to be like a lot of like if this, if that kind of thing. And there's probably a mutual option in year 3, something weird like that. So then there's an opt out if Woodruff performs in year 2 well, or he's back, he can get that deal in the future. Is what is going to happen, in my opinion. But I think the Corbin Burns trade ends up kind of clearing. Like there's cleared money. That's where we had the Jacob Junis and then also the Gary Sanchez signings. And now Woodruff probably won't be back this year, so there's still kind of a hole at starting pitching. Like there's like a starter or two that's missing, unless they're gonna stretch Junis out as a starter. Is kind of like the question I have. But then there's been, so far this first week of spring training, there's been actually a variety of takeaways I've already had. And there's some interesting stories that came out. I'll start with the Sal Frelick one. Dustin Pedroia. So, right. Boston Red Sox legend Dustin Pedroia was at Brewers spring training camp. He is helping Sal Frelick right now learn second base. It was reported a few days ago, confirmed, I believe on Saturday, by Pat Murphy. Sal Frelick will be potentially seen at second and third base. It seems like, so whether it's like, okay, they're going to try to move Turang to shortstop, trade Adames kind of thing, or kind of keep Turang, right? The bat's not there yet for Turang. Clearly is with Frelick. Sal Frelick at second base is a win in my book, especially what you're going to get offensively. But the question is Tyler Black at third now? Is that like going to be the thing? And Turang at short, if Adames gets traded, is Turang going to be a bench piece to start? I think that's probably the likely move going into camp, unless Adames gets traded here quickly or in the upcoming weeks. The Brewers do have a baseball game this Saturday. They play already this Saturday, February 24th, against the Padres. I think Bally might have it they might be airing it, so we might see Frelick early at second. I hope so. I think that would be good to see. It's going to be at 2:10 Central. It's not going to actually be on TV. It looks like it will be on 620 WTMJ. The first game on TV looks like to be the Angels next Tuesday. And actually, next Wednesday, the Chicago Cubs, the Brewers will play next Wednesday at 2:10 Central. So if you want to see the Craig Counsell first Pat Murphy, you can see spring training action next Wednesday at 2:10. It will be live. So that will be interesting to see. But the first full squad workouts tomorrow, February 20th. So that's when we'll be able to catch that, hear more details. Everybody now is reported. Brock Wilken was actually the last one, 2023 first round pick, the third baseman. Unsure, but again, he wasn't required to report early, but most did except Yelich and Wilken. Gary Sanchez, who was signed for $7 million, reported, has still not been at camp. People do not know why. The guess goes to physical. Did he fail his physical? Is he gonna be a Brewer? That signing right now is kind of up in the air. We don't actually know right now, but I hope so. We all hope collectively like that he will be. The Brewers have this might be the deepest catcher position they've ever had. They have like three or so starting caliber catchers. And then they have like two guys they have like five catchers or so who could help make an impact on this team, which is weird to think about considering this team has never been that strong a catcher until obviously like Grandal that year. And then of course Contreras just last year, but like Lucroy. So it's been like 10 years since an offensive catcher provided like immense value. Narvaez had, some solid years, but nonetheless, it's a refreshing thing to see for this Brewers squad. But otherwise, we got to monitor this week kind of what's going on with Gary Sanchez. Is Frelick going to be second base? Is that going to be like somebody like a go for the year? Is he going to be primary second, or is he going to get some outfield work? Garrett Mitchell going to probably operate center. What's the role for Weimer? Like, there's a lot of questions this Brewers team has because of the A, depth, B, age. A very young team, a lot of depth in terms of there's a lot of guys who are around similar performance you would expect, and you don't know where they're going to be. Is Churio going to take center? Probably. Mitchell might move, but like, how's it going to work out? So many questions. Otherwise, like, we just got to wait and see this week, especially that Saturday game. And probably won't be able to see our first one, though, until next Tuesday, 2:10 against the Angels, the 27th. So baseball's just around the corner, is in summary what I'm saying. And that's all I had this week on this episode of Drew's Sports Crew. So again, at Drew Sports Crew, Instagram, X, and TikTok. Look forward to seeing you all Wednesday around 4:45 or 5 p.m. Central for an episode of Journey to a Million. But otherwise, have a great week, everyone. That's going to wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg, here on this Monday morning. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew's Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.